Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. The wait is over.
Let's get this thing started.
Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 132 of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back. The last time is now, John Cena edition, because this is the last episode of the year 2025 as we get close to the New Year celebration here in a few days. Speaking of celebrations, someone that we have to celebrate tonight, who is currently tied for second place in the In or Out Sports Debate Vaults of Fame with 18 appearances with the man, myth, and legend, Rob Johnson. He is also co-host of the Duval Dive and producer of the Bolt Blitz. Give it up for my man, Kyle Nash.
What's going on, Drew Willingham? First of all, I want to tell you, it looks like you have a pretty awesome shirt there, but I just can't see it.
Just like that greeting card. That's
you. There's supposed to be holiday greetings here, but I just can't see them. Great to be aboard, and let me be among the last to wish you Merry Christmas, and among the first to all you out there in these streams, a Happy New Year.
Yes, merry belated Christmas to you as well, my brother. Hopefully you got everything that you had wanted, and as we get older,
children, that's all I want to do.
Yes, your children. But what I was gonna say, for those of us that get older, what we mainly want is to sleep in on Christmas.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of extra sleep out here in these beds, as I would say, in order to get the recharge going. Hopefully you got enough rest this weekend, because we got a new week of brewing this upcoming week, the final few days of 2025. And with the final few days, we get in one more episode of the In or Out Sports Debate. This one, episode 132. And like I said during the intro, 18 times, Kyle Nash. The last time you were here, Rob Johnson was in the house with you, and we had it was a fun one. And when I looked at it at the end, it went by so quick. And I didn't think of it until once we were done. It went by so fast, a lot faster. We were just rolling through those topics. What a great night that was. But tonight, on the very last episode of 2025, it is you and me. 5 great topics, and we're going to start it out with a little bit of action within the game of foosball for round 1.
Round 1.
And here with round 1, the loss of cornerback Jourdan Lewis will directly lead to a first-round playoff exit for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kyle Nash, how do you feel about this one? In particular, you cover this team very regularly. Are you in or are you out on this?
I like that you opened with a Waterboy reference, talking about the foosball. Boy, you coming to me talking about the foosball? Ah! And you know what? When it comes to this topic, I'm just like Mama Boucher when she heard about Bobby playing football. I am out. How about that for a mother, father, and segue? Listen, here, let's get right into this, okay? Right up the top here, I know everybody's finally deciding to talk about Trevor Lawrence in the correct fashion instead of selling out on him due to horrible coaching and box score watching. But enough of the Emmanuel Acho conversation at this point. Enough of the Stephen A. Smith conversation at this point. Enough of all the talking heads who've made it abundantly clear. Yes, even looking at Richard Sherman, who I had a very fantastic personal experience with. Listen, brother, you were great as a corner, but you don't even watch the games, and now you mad that Jacksonville fans are calling you out for it. That's a you problem.
Ouch.
I mean, listen, the facts of the case are these, and they're not dispute. To disrespect James Gladstone, aka Jimmy Stones, as he was referred to by Casey from the Barking Browns podcast, by the way. That's right. A Browns guy came up with Jimmy Stones as his nickname for the Jags, right? I know. It's crazy. But the depth you have here, my scuba certification could not account for. Obviously, they would rather have Jourdan Lewis. But listen, Montaric Brown has been playing fantastic football. Sure, he had 3 opportunities perhaps to intercept Phillip Rivers, and none of them just happened to connect. But this dude has as many passes defended as anything else. That's right. You don't defense a pass, Drew. That is called illiteracy. He's defended several important passes, including not only one to help steal the victory for when the Jags defense carried the team after a number of poor decisions by Liam Cohen. Don't get it twisted. Liam Cohen's on the way to being the best head coach in the franchise's history. But I did not like that call today he did with the hook and ladder. Nonetheless, these corners, with Jarian Jones getting a pick in each of the previous 2 games, Montaric Brown doing what he's doing, Greg Newsome, a little bit of an up and down thing coming in to replace Tyson Campbell and all that. This group is just fine. Yes, I know they're also without Travis Hunter. That's obviously the big thing. That's old news for those of us that cover the Jaguars on a regular basis like we do with the Duval Dive. But nonetheless, this group today will survive, can thrive in the playoffs. Now, the question will be, who will they play off against first? That still remains to be seen, though right now it looks like that might be the Houston Texans. Snore a 3rd game like this. Can we get at least a round in before we see them again playing the Jaguars? Anyways, that all being said, I think this is a fundamentally silly thing to think that would limit the Jags when one could argue that other than one Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence is the most experienced remaining playoff relevant quarterback in the AFC. Yeah, this is not a problem.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I can't even go against this and say for the sake of debate, I'm out as well. I mean, they proved it today. They were able to get the win over the Colts. It was a lot closer than it probably would have been had Jourdan Lewis been in the game. And they did give up 1 touchdown pass by Phillip Rivers, who did throw nearly 150 passing yards. But for the man to be coming out of retirement after being on the shelf for nearly 5 years, it's not like he's throwing up 250 and 300 passing yard games. So the defense still held them, and they still got the win over a team that was pretty close to being playoff bound until last night when they were literally mathematically eliminated. The big reason why I say that they'll be okay without Jourdan Lewis is in comparison to what he's done over the last 2 years with the Cowboys. His numbers are actually down. Yes, he did have 1 more interception than he did last year and what he's averaged since 2021. But as far as his combined tackles and assists overall, he is down statistically, and there was only 2 games that he missed, that being today and the one upcoming for Week 18. So he's only literally missed 2 games. Now, with the scheme that he was in with the Cowboys, a little bit different than what he's been playing with in Jacksonville. But overall, I think that this team, what they've done overall since he's been with the team has been great because he does give a little bit more depth to the secondary with the cornerbacks. But overall, they've been doing pretty good without him today in today's game. They've done decent in their secondary without him in the past. And I think that they'll be okay. Their offense is clicking right now, and that's what they needed because Trevor Lawrence was not consistent within his offense over the past couple of years. And Duval, Captain Duval over there, has been the whisperer of the quarterback this year with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's having one of his greatest seasons of all time, and not just in the NFL, with college combined. And you look at what he did in college, it's a pretty nice resume of what he did during that time. But Captain Duval is the whisperer over there. Like you said in your spiel, he could be He's already on paper looking like he's going to be the greatest coach of all time in Jacksonville history, in your opinion. And I think I've got to second that because of what he's been able to do to unlock the skills of Trevor Lawrence and others on that offense. Because he is the offensive guru, he's doing what Brian Daboll should have done in New York, and he's doing it in Jacksonville. The sad thing is like New York, they had to go through multiple coaches in a short period of time to figure it out, and they still haven't figured it out in New York. I like what I'm seeing in Jacksonville. I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to go to the AFC Championship, but I do see the Jags winning the first round. I see them winning the wild card round. See them, winning. They could potentially win the division game and make it to the AFC Championship. I just don't see them advancing beyond the AFC Championship when you've got tough teams that hopefully you don't face until the AFC Championship, like the Patriots, who have been smacking teams around, and Drake May, who threw 5 touchdowns today and absolutely is making a huge, huge case on why he should be the MVP. Like, he is literally tightening the grip on the MVP race. And when you look and see what they're doing in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is knocking on the door in his own right, making an argument of what he's done. But not when you have a guy like Drake May, who's thrown 5 touchdowns in today and has done many great things throughout a season. It's just sad that if you didn't have a team like the Patriots this year, the Jags would be the number 1 team in the AFC, and that would be the way I feel about it. But without Jourdan Lewis for the next few weeks, I think they're going to be okay. It does impact the team, but it doesn't mean they're going to get a first-round playoff exit. I'm not in on that. I am out, just like you.
Well, I'll give you this, Drew. There's a lot of things you said. By the way, Jourdan Lewis, having only participated in 12 games so far this year, he has missed a few due to varying injuries and stuff, and has played hurt, to his credit too. I would argue, also remind those out there that lower numbers for a corner can sometimes be a good thing, because that means they're getting tested less. And you very wisely also brought up the different scheme. Anthony Campanelli with a lot more exotic blitzes may lead to situations where Jourdan Lewis has less opportunity to intercept the ball or even get a pass defended if something falls harmlessly to the turf. But yeah, since you're very fond of the sake of debate and you started to bring in this trash about the Patriots and Drake May, let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
You're just laughing.
I was laughing, but I was giving you your freedom to roam. I had myself muted, so I was like muted laughing while trying to figure out in my mind if I still had that button.
Yeah, that silence, so everybody knew it was true laughing. It was great. But yeah, let me talk to you, Drake.
Let me talk to you.
You want to talk about throwing 5 GD touchdowns against the goddamn Jets? Is this what we're doing right now? Is this what we're partying with? Have you not learned your lesson from celebrating ACC quarterbacks? Kyle, you just talked about Trevor Lawrence, and he's the last one who came out of there that's been worth a darn, okay? That's all I'm trying to point out at this point. Let's not forget. Let's not move past things. Heck, at this point, I watched the Big 12 personally in the Pop-Tarts Bowl lose to BYU. Georgia Tech was supposed to scare me. Yes, I know. And they beat you. They beat your alleged ACC champion Duke Blue Devils at some point. Is this your king? No, I not yo king. I mean you king. Yeah, like Wakanda, like Killmonger. Anyways, you notice any of the good teams that the Patriots have beaten? Have you? Have you? No, you haven't, because they don't exist. Okay? Stop with the Patriot Drake May madness. He is not an MVP. You know who's a better MVP choice but won't get because their team's record? Jonathan bleeping Taylor. This is why the Jags defense was so big today and may have struggled at times in the passing game, because there wasn't one per se. They were all devoted to attacking one Jonathan Taylor, which, by the way, is how Jarian Jones got his interception to seal the game, because, predictability, and as I like to call him, Old Man Rivers, Travis T. Holmes like to call him Uncle Phil. Whatever. Don't give me I will not be in any belief of the Patriots until they win a playoff game. You want to talk about first-round exits? Talk to me about your New England Patriots there, Chief. It ain't Thomas Edward, Patrick Bieber, Brady anymore. You're like King George from Hamilton. Y'all are looking for someone to rule you, okay? Thanks.
So you think that Matthew Stafford has a better chance of winning the MVP than Drake May?
Here's what I know. He lost Puka Nacua and was still throttling fools.
Well, he's at Devontae Adams,
who everybody thought was dead until Puka Nacua was out. Sorry.
Hey, if you want to give it to him, which I do think it would be a great story considering how his childhood best friend just won a World Series with the Dodgers and just retired, that being Clayton Kershaw. And there's been many speculation around, if Stafford was going to retire over the past 2 years, because he did have a drop-off. He had a drop-off a couple years ago where he was not playing the way, we're used to seeing him play. Last year, a little bit better of a year, but still somewhat of a disappointing year in comparison to what he had done, if you were to say, a half a decade ago when they won the Super Bowl, of course. But this year, he has really upped his game. This could be the type of situation where he rides off to the sunset like Clayton Kershaw did in the Rams win the Super Bowl.
The correct answers for MVP are actually Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey, but nobody's going to talk about that because they're not quarterbacks. Oh, they're so pretty. Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, I would argue Jonathan Taylor definitely, if he was going to be a non-quarterback considered for MVP. Christian McCaffrey, of course, does great things as a receiver, as a receiving running back. But Jonathan Taylor, throughout 3/4 of this season, kept the Colts in contention for, not just making the playoffs, but to have the number 1 seed. We thought until Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, whatever you want to call him, went down, it was a reach to bring in Phillip Rivers. And, of course, I've been joking around for the past couple of weeks saying he was going to lead them to the Super Bowl and be the first grandfather to win the Super Bowl. But we didn't have that Hollywood ending. Hey, he got an extra 5 years on his insurance because it was about to go up. But and we got to wait 5 more years for you to go into the Hall of Fame. I was just kind of hoping he threw for 252 passing yards today so we could see him pass Big Ben for 6th all time. He wasn't going to pass Stafford because Stafford is still slinging it, and we know he'll more than likely be playing next week too.
Right.
So Phillip Rivers won't. Based on the reports, Riley Leonard will probably play and Phillip Rivers won't be playing. But it's just wild to see how much the last few weeks have changed due to injuries with teams. The one thing I can at least say and back you up on is the loss of Jourdan Lewis due to injury isn't going to impact the Jags as severe as other teams have been impacted by other big name players going down, more so that the quarterback position, like with the Colts, the Chiefs, even though they were pretty much eliminated when Mahomes went down, it still dramatically impacted the rest of the way their season went. The Jaden Daniels experience with my team in Washington and much, much more. There's been many teams where big name players have gone down. Jonathan Taylor definitely deserves to be in the discussion for MVP because he's been injured in the past and it's affected the way the trajectory of the Colts season went. And he was part of the reason why the Colts stayed as far into the discussion as they did, even though it definitely went away once Jones went down.
That's why
had they won the last 2 weeks, I think you have a serious case for Taylor to win the MVP. But because they've lost, he's not going to get it.
And it's so dumb that the win-loss record's part of it, frankly. But, like, to an extent, obviously, you don't want, like, we can't give it to Brock Bowers or something like that. But, all the stuff you just mentioned about Jonathan Taylor, except he has receiving too, is what you mentioned about Christian McCaffrey, who, by the way, is doing it in a very, very competitive NFC West. So that's why I bring up McCaffrey as well. I think they both deserve consideration.
The 49ers, I feel like, rely on McCaffrey receiving more than they do Taylor in Indianapolis.
Right, exactly. So he's useful in multiple facets of the game, and he's on a winning team that is making the playoffs when you wouldn't expect them to when they've lost all their defensive stars, missed George Kittle for the period of time he did. They were so injured playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in a game they nearly won, by the way, in San Francisco, that the top receiver at the time, Purcell and Jawan Jennings, were like forming a queue at the injury tent during the game. So again, to be competitive like that in an actual competitive NFC West, not an AFC East where, the Bills are falling apart and the moment you play a good team, you struggle like the ACC quarterback Drake May does. It's actual battling through and carrying your team in a way that you're not supposed to be able to as a running back anymore, allegedly.
At least you have an ACC quarterback for your argument now, because the one that has 2 L's in his name, Sam Howell, no longer plays on a regular basis for you to make that ACC argument, okay? You need to save your ACC argument for when they suck so bad that they don't even play as starting quarterbacks. Then your argument is valid, because look at what Drake May's doing. Him and stash or no stash Vrabes over there have been rocking and rolling. And I'm not even a Patriots fan. You know it, and I know it. And out of spite, I do it for Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. I am not a fan of that man. You know it, and I know it. I'm a fan of Joe Montana. He is the greatest of all time. And yes, I just went Southern on you. Montana, because he is the greatest of all time. I went Cajun, like deep down in the south of Florida. Montana.
Cajun is technically Louisiana. Listen, there's a difference between the Everglades and the Bayou. Trust me, I'm uniquely qualified to understand. But hey, listen, if there's a quarterback that could fall into that level of Hades that you're talking about, Drake May.
In Hades? Kyle Nash. I don't know if I agree with it. Let us know here in the comments if you agree or disagree, as we do have some comments that we have to acknowledge. Real quick, Snowman in the house earlier saying, hey, Snowman checking in. Well, what's up, Snowman? Glad to have you in the house. Along with our guy with 2 N's, Black Jesus, Corey Man in the house.
Building, let's go!
Says, yo, and Drake May for MVP.
Where's Bishop Bullwinkle? You better have.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no, to the no.
Ask and you shall receive.
Production at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I got to get it in while I can, because you'll see why in the breaking news. You and I talked about it off air. We'll talk about it here soon for the breaking news. But when it comes to that, that's how Kyle Nash feels about that. Here comes to Drake May for MVP. And should Garrett be MVP if he breaks the sack record? That's a good question, Kyle Nash. How do you feel?
He's going to get Defensive Player of the Year. I don't see what the issue is with that.
Should he get MVP if he breaks the sack record?
He doesn't do enough. Like if you take Myles Garrett off the field, the Browns might lose a couple more games? Question mark. I do understand that TJ Watt has gotten overwhelmingly high press, which I find is ironic that I mentioned that, as I have JJ Watt on my back wall behind me here. But shouts to the JJ Watt fathead. But I like where you're going. This isn't like JJ Watt, who was kicking butt doing sacks, had pulled down interceptions to the house, and then also caught 4 offensive touchdowns in 2012. This is not that. But it is great. Don't get it twisted. Anyways.
Hey, we got to give a shout out to Aaron Rodgers for avoiding the sack today. I mean, 42 years old. There were many situations where you could see where, especially the one shovel pass in the first half, I thought was like a beautiful pass, like a 42-year-old to have the wherewithal to throw that pitch and get it to his I think it was to Gainwell, if I'm remembering right. Literally pitched it to Gainwell a split second before Myles Garrett would have got him. Like
it's not like Brett Favre flopping and going fetal for Strahan to get his record. I'm just saying. He
said he wasn't going to flop for it, for one. And for two, he did not want to be in that picture.
No.
He did not want to be in that picture of the sack record. So
hell to the no.
Good for him for making it happen to where he did not become part of history in that light. Our guy says, I think the MVP qualifications need to be looked at as well. I don't know who truly deserves MVP, honestly.
This is a year where you can make a lot of arguments for a lot of dudes. Drake may least among them, but because they're reliant on so much more than him. Like what the better argument is, and the problem is a lot of guys have this argument too, is coach of the year. Mike Vrabel arriving suddenly, the world loves Drake May. That's because he fixed the team up, right? Ben Johnson made Caleb Williams work where quarterbacks weren't supposed to work because Justin Fields failed, right? It's and I mean, obviously we talked about Liam Cohen ad nauseum, and nobody's talking about Trevor Lawrence as a damn MVP. So, nor should they either, by the way. Let's be clear about that. Though Trevor's had to deal with a lot more adversity than Drake May. Anyways, so damn, that was good. So yeah, I think there's a better case for Mike Vrabel as coach of the year, and I don't think he should win that either. Jim Harbaugh, I think Kyle Shanahan, Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson. The list goes on and on of worthy competitors there.
Well, if nobody's saying it, Kyle Nash, I will say Trevor Lawrence deserves to be in the MVP race. I mean, had they like beat down the Colts a little bit more than what they did today, I feel like he'd be a little bit more discussed, because when you don't have a legit, well, I wouldn't say a legit leader, because Rivers is a legit leader. Literally, you had to pull somebody off the bench for 5 years ago in order to be relevant in this game today. The Jags should be taking that as we should have done better than what we did today. Like, you only won by 6.
They absolutely do. Yeah. For clarity.
But
go ahead. Sorry.
For Drake, I would say my picks for the top 5 in the MVP, you definitely, even though you want to hate on him, I got Drake May up there.
If probably, he's fine, I'll live with it, but go ahead.
I mean, I see your argument, though. I would say Josh Allen deserves to be in the conversation, although, what happened today, I feel like it's going to affect that because of the way they lost today. Matthew Stafford, you make a compelling argument for that. I got to keep him up there. And, it's mainly going to be quarterback driven, because that's what usually the MVP is. But you got to look at fingernail, man. Caleb Williams, what he's done for the Chicago Bears. I mean, I don't want to give him the praise. It's a lot for me to see, as much as I've thrown the shade at him for being fingernail, man. It is a lot for me to sit here today in 2025, the last episode of 2025, and say, I got him as an MVP. But he's literally in the top 5 in my MVP race. And you can make an argument, like you said earlier, for Jonathan Taylor or potentially, McCaffrey. But I think McCaffrey doesn't have as much of the edge as Taylor does in that argument, because the 49ers are a little bit more well-rounded because of Shanahan's offense. What you have is your quarterback's been there the entire time, except for what he missed at the beginning with Mac Jones at the play, because Purdy was still getting it's
a weird measure, because the Colts lost so much quarterback stuff, but the Niners lost so much on defense. Like it's a hard thing.
Play easy. They could plug and play easy, even with their running back position. You got Brian Robinson Jr., where if McCaffrey went down, he wouldn't have the same amount of stats, but he'd do respectable numbers for you.
You think Shane Steichen is a bum? Is that it?
No. But I'm just saying, you've also got Kittle. I'm saying, besides the coach, you've also got, a decent backup over there in Robinson. You've got plug and play quarterbacks, because not just Purdy, but you got Mac Jones, you got Kittle, you got receiving options, even though Ayuk and what's gone on there. Well, you've got a more well-rounded team. And then I haven't even talked about the defense yet.
Yeah, that's true.
Where the Colts
are good for the Colts. But again, the Niners defense, their stars have all been hurt for a while now.
True, but they rely more. When you take the quarterback out of the equation, the Colts offense runs through Jonathan Taylor, and when he's on fire on all cylinders, they are kicking ass. Yeah. And that's just so that's why I feel like I listed the quarterbacks, but you can make an argument for Taylor over McCaffrey based on the fact that, in my opinion, the offense truly runs through him. If they're shutting McCaffrey down with the 49ers, they can make other moves and go to other individuals.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. That's absolutely true.
It's tougher, and it doesn't look as good as it does when they can go through McCaffrey and get the rhythm established. But that's just the way it is, and they have more weapons over there.
To your point, we don't know what it looks like without JT in the backfield there. That's a great point, Mike.
especially when they're relevant. We have seen it before in past seasons, but when they don't have him, they struggle.
MVP awards are for the current season, my guy, but you make a good point.
Yes. But I'm just saying, as far as when he's not in the lineup, we've seen the production from them, and it's not much.
Right.
The impact Garrett makes isn't properly measured because of how bad the Browns are. Put him on another team could have been a reality, but he chose the money, as the youngins say.
The Munyon.
And
man, listen, if he went with Funyuns instead of the Munions, he might be munchins on some MVP, but that ain't my problem. I can only vote with what's in front of me there, Black Jesus. Just saying.
Damn.
Facts of the case are these.
Shanahan should be top of the list for Coach of the Year, in my opinion. As much as I hate to say this bull jive, he has done more with less. He hasn't had his starting quarterback and top wide receiver Ayuk.
This is where your point about quarterback rotation applies, right? Is there a large line of demarcation between one Brady Quinn or Mac Jones? Frankly, only in salary, allegedly, right?
Yes.
But the reason why that's made possible, to your point, is Kyle Shanahan. So I think there's some there. What if you're gonna? I'm gonna stay consistent with your argument. If you're gonna award Jonathan Taylor because the quarterback impact was less for McCaffrey, 100%, great take, not mad at it. Then by rule, you have to raise Shanahan up higher than. I mean, he's got to be at least in the top
for Coach of the Year. Absolutely,
correct. Yeah,
absolutely. I like that.
But here's the takeaway that nobody's talking about: Locke, comeback player of the year, should in fact be one Trevor Lawrence.
I think if, like, let's say Caleb Williams won the MVP, you got to give Coach of the Year to Shanahan. But it really depends on how the next week goes. It's really tough.
That's how close the race is. One game could decide it. That's wild, Drew Willingham.
For all of these positions and awards that we've talked about, which is wild, because usually by like 2 to 3 weeks out, we've mentally locked it up of who's going to win what for the most part. This year, it literally is coming down to the wire, and that's where having an extra game, a 17th game in a season, comes in handy, because the season would have technically ended, well, after tonight or tomorrow night's game, this week 17. But we get one more week, and as NFL fans and those who cover it, we have more fun because we have one extra week in the regular season, which helps determine seeding, potential berths for the playoffs, and a whole lot more now when it comes to positions within award races. So what a great round. A lot of great interaction for Corey. Thank you very much from Black Jesus for that. Round one lasted over 30 minutes. That is epic. That's how great that was. Let's go ahead and take that energy and momentum into round two.
Round two.
Now, last week I had a similar question or similar topic regarding Jake Paul, worded a little bit differently this week for round two, but I also wanted Kyle Nash's take on it when it comes to Jake Paul should retire from boxing after his most recent knockout loss. Kyle Nash, how do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out on this?
I'm feeling a little woozy like Jake Paul did on the canvas. I guess that means that I am out. Listen, this isn't a question of athletics. It's a question of economics. And these idiots out here are still paying the pay-per-views to do the damn Jake Paul thing. You better bet your entire ass it's going to take more than a broken jaw to stop me from doing it. I have no idea why we're starting to channel Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson right there, but that's maybe because this is all a spectacle. Now, granted, I am not knocking how good a boxer, air quotes, Jake Paul has turned out to be. He's impressed a lot of people who know a lot more about boxing and combat sport than I do. I only watch it on a rare occasion, and ironically, I might be an offensive lineman at heart, but I'm less entertained by the heavyweights because there's less finesse and art to the sport, the sweet science, if you will. I know I blow people's minds all the time on this very show, Joe Willingham, but the punchline be, listen, man, It ain't like Jake Paul's going to be trying to get a real job anytime soon. And these purses are absolutely amazing. If somebody could put together a huge crop of money that gets a 60-something-year-old Mike Tyson out of retirement, so I get to see him walk away from an interview with his booty showing, accidentally, of course, I am not even remotely worried about the concept of Jake Paul being well younger than I am, continuing to box if he so desires. Matter of fact, that even adds a little bit of cred to it because he recovered from getting that entire ass whooping and then stepping back into the ring. I'm forced and compelled, regardless of how I feel about either of the Paul brothers, to give them, at least Jake, a little bit of respect for pulling that off.
So based on his marketing prowess, you think he deserves to continue to carry on boxing?
Now, your use of the word deserve changes the premise of the question. You asked, I said that would be fiscally stupid.
Well, regardless if it's good for the money or not the money, I disagree. I am in. Kyle Nash, I'm going to bring this up while you and I are on the screen, just so we can analyze it just a little bit more, because look at his face. He is about to get de-mother-fathering destroyed, okay? He looks like his life is flashing beyond his eyes. And he has got his hair looking like he just got electrocuted, like he was the kid that stuck a fork inside of the electrical outlet. All right. He looks like he is jacked up right now, and he most certainly is. Now, if we're going to say from his marketing aspect, he's great for the sport. He's great for us to get Mike Tyson out there and spar a little bit and literally hold Mike Tyson up for us to watch him survive the match, which is what we saw in that match. If that's what you want to see, great. But this reminded me of the situation towards the end when he was getting knocked down, where it was Drago versus Apollo Creed and Rocky Ford.
Throw the damn towel!
He were going to throw in the damn towel, and he was going to die. He's just a boy. All right? You cannot let him die. All right. It seemed like he was going to die out there. When you look at this picture right here, at some point, even though it's for the money, somebody he's going to be facing is going to watch some of his old YouTube content with Logan Paul, and they're going to get pissed. If I'm fighting a YouTuber, I'm going to beat his ass. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And he's going to go from being just a boy to being just a target, and he's going to die. All right, and we cannot see that. And that's why Rocky IV and Apollo Creed, we get back to that. And I had to have my for the sake of debate moment, because if you're going to talk about marketing aspect, then great. Let him keep on making a joke of the sport of boxing, because that's literally what it is. It's become WWE Junior, but with boxing instead of fake fighting. All right. You've got WWE, you got fake boxing in the middle, and then you got the real thing, UFC. So we've got it literally layered out. That's what you want boxing to become, WWE Junior. That's what it seems like it's going to be when you watch Jake Paul on Netflix and whoever he's fighting, and yet he makes $94 million. I don't understand it.
I mean, listen, is WWE Junior so bad? I mean, first of all, let me straighten one thing out. I didn't say it was good for the sport of boxing, and I didn't say I watched this crap, because I very much don't. But people are. Okay? And that's the problem. It doesn't matter what I know. It only matters what I can prove. So said Lionel Caffey during A Few Good Men. Tom Cruise, bitches. Anyways, so like, first of all, production note, I would like very much, if you can, to put up Black Jesus's comment under this, like right here, because it's perfect.
Which one?
This was the one below that. There we go. He knew he bleeped up. Like Black Jesus again, earning his nickname through another bit of, shall we say, scripture in the comments. So that's the thing, though. Like, again, you know what makes Paul go away? The sweet irony, this sweet science, if you will, Drew Willingham. We do. if we don't watch his bleep. Just saying.
I believe I can fly.
Listen, if I just spread my wings. Anyways, no. Again, I'm not saying it's good for the sport. Hell, if he wants to fight me, I'll do it. Let me get a year to train. Fine. But yeah, I don't see it going away, man. I just don't.
Oh, you get those millions of dollars if you fought him. I get it. I see what you're talking about.
Bruh.
Jake just needs to make sure that his next match against someone the stature of Joshua have a life alert button in his corner. Kyle Nash's bell, a Power Ranger morpher, something to get him out.
Throw the damn towel. Enough of the sing-songing of the Mighty Morphin Power theme, right? Anyways,
hey, you got to bring to the table sometimes, especially you can't leave out the mother, father, and Power Rangers out here. So, and we just brought them in here. Speaking of which, when you got things just morphing on out there and popping on up, we got breaking news. That breaking news is this. This show is returning in January 2026. And I know some of you out there are thinking, well, yes, next Sunday is January 2026. No, it will not be at our regularly scheduled time, which, for if you watch the commercial, we just show up whenever we feel like it. But we have been mainly doing Sunday nights between 8 and 8:30 for the last several weeks. There will be a schedule change of potentially the day, potentially the time frame, and a whole lot more for this program, and a whole lot more on Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Big moves in 2026, Kyle Nash. You've been a part of the ride. You already know. We'll talk more about it later on in other programming, but for now, just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we will not be here next Sunday night, but at some point in January 2026, the show will return. Different day, different time. Stay tuned on the program and platforming network known as, one more time,
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Let's take it on into round 3.
Round 3.
Kyle Nash, Charles Barkley is right. The NFL has officially crossed the line into greed with the addition of Christmas Day games. Stupid look on his face and all when it comes to that man on the far left. How do you think about this? Are you in or are you out on this?
As somebody whose first jersey was one Charles Barkley from the Phoenix Suns, who owned the book called The Wit and Wisdom of Charles Barkley, I believe this statement adds to that. I am in. And I know what you think. Kyle, you've been covering the NBA for the past 3 years. Suddenly you just got to be a big whip and a big basketball defender. Bitch, please. Okay? I'm still the do of all die with the Believe Network and all of that with my friend Travis D, my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, among all the other things football I do, covering all 3 Orlando College Bowl games, UCF football for the Black and Gold Banneret, etc., etc. Punchlines this, folks. Man, Barkley's right as hell. I know, but Barkley is right as hell here. Okay, what is the statement that you often hear about the NBA in general, Drew Willingham? I'm not worried about any of it until Christmas. Well, guess what? The NFL just swooped in and took Cremo away, just like it's nothing. When, by the way, already NBA is having to do battle with college football over and above all of that with the midseason cup, which is actually better than I thought it would be. Anyways, you're going to try to sneak in and then peddle us that for us to do it on Peacock. Gross. No, wait. Not that kind of no, like the bird peacock. Settle down, people. Jesus Christ. So no,
Well, Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix, exactly. Netflix as well, correct. I'm talking about all the surrounding streams, Drew Willingham. You're right. Christmas itself is definitely Netflix. You're accurate. But this weekend, if you wanted to watch something there, you had to go to the Peacock. Gross. So yeah, the NFL has that kind of leverage, and they're just using that power. Is it the correct business move to find growth because there's not many more places the NFL could grow? No, business-wise, it's not. But by definition, business, success, according to Gordon Gekko on Wall Street, greed is good. Greed is right. Right? For those, if you haven't seen Wall Street, effing do it. Jesus. Anyway, enough about that. So with all that in mind, Charles Barkley's correct. It doesn't mean it's the wrong move.
Kyle Nash. When it comes to Charles Barkley, I have this take right here. You know it, and I know it.
That's terrible.
Just like in this defense, I disagree. I am out. What's wrong? A little bit of competition, Kyle Nash. A little bit of head-to-head competition. Yeah, you said, what is the biggest thing people say when it comes to the NBA? And you brought up what a lot of people used to say when it comes to Christmas Day games. What a lot of people are saying nowadays with the NBA is that it's rigged, okay? So, yes, people are less excited as time goes on about the NBA. When the NFL and the popularity of it is way more than what the NBA is, and they're trying to capitalize it more on sports as a whole, when I guarantee you, if you look at the viewership for the day on Christmas, more people were looking at the Christmas football on Netflix than they were looking at the NBA. So, yes, you could feel like that that it's taken away from your viewership because the people that probably did have basketball on probably just had it on as background noise and weren't paying attention while little Johnny F-Face was opening up his presents anyway. Okay.
It's true. You really have to start.
People are still probably doing that with NFL games, but the viewership as a whole is like quadruple in comparison to what the NBA would do. So you have to look at it for what it is, and you have to give the nod to the NFL. And even though he has a stupid look on his face half the time, the man on the far left, Charles Barkley, was right when he said the word.
That's terrible.
And it's terrible for you, Charles. You need to say it to yourself. We're going to do it again.
That's terrible.
Yes, you were terrible for saying this because it sounds like somebody that needs a participation award. You sound like the child who needs a participation award because he didn't get what he wanted on Christmas. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean the rest of us are going to feel the same. Hence why the NFL had more viewership on Christmas Day than King and the Lakers playing for the NBA.
Man, listen, first of all, you don't have extended health care like Uncle Phil. Be careful with the King. Second, we did our best to not bring him up, and here you are doing it anyway. Happy New Year, Humpy Bumpies. It's not like we disagreed all that much in all actuality. I'm okay. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Chuck. I'm saying it like I know the damn guy. Here's the thing about Charles Barkley. He's got no problem criticizing the NBA. I think I might slightly disagree in the tone you infer with Charles Barkley saying it. Oh, NFL, you should do this. Protect the NBA. I could see Barkley going, so what do you think of the NFL, Chris? Man, the NFL is just greedy, man. And, they're a better product. They come in, and they just want more money. Point blank. And I don't think you or I disagree on that particular portion of the point at all.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Kyle Nash. playing a little bit of wordplay, but it's not going to work because I feel the way I feel and you feel the way you feel. You're just trying to say it in a nice way. I concede because I can't argue with that one.
Humpy Bumpy, you wrote the question. What are you talking about?
Corey says, NBA worried about Christmas. They need to worry about the damn trash fest, Trash Palooza called All-Star Weekend.
Oh, nothing's fixing that. Stick to the skills challenge. Do what the NFL did, man.
Yeah, and do it at the end of the year, not in the middle of it.
Oh, that too. Not a bad thought. Not a bad thought.
Not in the middle of it.
There's something to be said for giving the players some time off, though, because the NBA season is a marathon, not a sprint.
Very much so. Speaking of time off, we're going to take about 2 minutes and some change off for this one and only commercial break. We'll see you guys here on the other side for the last 2 rounds of the program.
Hey, what's good, everybody? This is your boy Corey, host of The Grind, where we talk about all things WWE. You can catch The Grind every single Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on Sertoba Media. If you're not following Sertoba Media, then what are you doing? Like, share, subscribe. There are many different things that we have available on Sertoba Media for your viewing pleasure. And what else you got to do on a Saturday afternoon? Come spend some time with me. Come spend some time with my colleagues on this platform. Help us be able to bring everything that you all want to see. Matter of fact, you know what? If you ain't did it yet, I got something for you. Stay true to what you do. Stay true to why you do. And always stay true to you.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. $sign DWillie87. Go ahead and hit him up on the Cash App and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. Some Willie Bucks.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Do you like talking sports? Do you like entertainment? Do you like the occasional series of heated discussions?
Are you in and out, Drew?
With that said,
Drew, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff in your mind. I know you know this team very well. Are you in and out, my friend?
Then you must see this. Drew Willingham versus random panelists. Who wins? You decide on the In or Out Sports Debate. Live. Whenever the we feel like it. Eastern Standard Time. Exclusively on Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Welcome back to the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 132. We are live. Myself, Drew Willingham, and Kyle Nash here for the 132nd and very last edition for the year 2025. We still have 2 more rounds to go. Let's go ahead and take it on into round 4.
Round 4.
And here with another team that Kyle knows very, very well. We'll start it off with the Orlando Magic should shock the league, trade Paolo Banchero, and build the franchise around Franz Wagner. How do you feel about this one, Kyle Nash? Are you in or are you out on this one?
No, boy, the Banchero Wagner debate. Here we go. Okay, listen. This is nonsense. I normally have a cute little build-up or whatever for this, for whether I'm in or out, but Magic fans make me annoyed with this one in particular. I am out. fat kids in dodgeball look at me and say, damn, I at least thought you might have had a chance. Good God. Anyways, no, listen, I don't understand this narrative at all when it comes to Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. By the way, the correct answer is they're both amazing, and Desmond Bain completes this group with a big three, and then Jalen Suggs as a defensive powerhouse at the perimeter, who unfortunately misses entirely too much time. The real enemy for the Orlando Magic too often is health. Ever since Grant bleeping Hill. Anyways, as somebody who's lived in near Orlando for the entirety of my life, it's a thing. Punchline's this, guys. We talk about Paolo Banchero having empty calorie minutes, and I get it. His game in Charlotte was just, as the kids say, cheeks. Okay. Then we turn around and see a performance like we saw beating the Denver Nuggets as the top, arguably the top offensive team in the NBA in overtime, albeit nonetheless something that happens. The Magic scored a bunch of points, something they're not known well for doing, right? And then the Trailblazers, when everybody criticizes that's 2 games ago, for those that are keeping track at home, that, Paolo only took 8 shots. Yes, it's because he's distributing to Anthony Black and Desmond Bain, emerging guys in the depth. The idea is for Paolo Banchero to give up some weight, move the ball around a bunch. There's a big guy out there in the NBA that scores a lot, but is known just as much for distributing assists as scoring points. Gosh, I wish I could take this topic more seriously, because if I didn't, I would sound like a joker. Oh yeah, you mean the damn guy you just beat? Okay, listen, and the only reason I wasn't there, by the way, is because I was covering the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So, if you don't like that defense, which I will grant, ever since Paolo came back from injury, I think it's a couple weeks back, where he missed 10 games, he hasn't looked great. People are wanting to see more speed, air quotes, more better processing from him. Need I remind the public at large that he has only, in fact, been playing for what? 4 seasons? I'm losing track now. It was the 2020, the 22-23 season was his rookie year. So it's 3 seasons. Okay. 4 seasons. This is 4th season. Okay. He's still growing. And I know people are like, but Kyle, you could trade him and get Giannis. If Paolo Banchero is just this empty calorie player, this high volume player that has too many turnovers and throws the ball into an abyss, allegedly, why would anybody take him in exchange for Giannis, especially the Bucks? Why would they take that trade in the first place? But let's pretend they're stupid, allegedly. The Magic don't have the assets. They traded all the picks that they did for Desmond Bain. So in what fantasy planet could Giannis Antetokounmpo come in? There's no price that the Magic would willingly play. They can't do it without shipping Paolo and a piece. And they're not going to send both Paolo and Wagner or both Paolo and Bain at this point. So what are you left with? And that's the part that's toughest about this. I think Giannis is 30, I believe, right? He's at the tail end of his career compared to one Paolo Banchero, who I believe isn't even 25 yet. Okay. There's a difference with this guy still developing, much like Franz Wagner is. And then alongside of Desmond Bain, who has had huge shooting nights to get the Magic through some games. This is the group you want to stick with. This is the group you want to build around. This is a group that all that needs to happen is that they find the switch, much like they did at the end of last year when Franz and Paolo had some time to recover from injury and get right to sneak into the playoffs after missing the portion of the season that they did, right? Paolo, Wagner, and Suggs only played 96 total minutes together, okay? This year, they're actually getting some time, and the Magic started out looking pretty strong, and then Franz got hurt again, which, by the way, why get rid of Paolo for Antetokounmpo when Giannis be missing playoff series, too, by the end of the year? That's the main reason the Bucks have been struggling in the first place is injury. So if you're going to ship Paolo, what really is the answer? You're too far vested at this point. Something else, Magic Operations VP Jeff Altman is loath to overspend on anything. He's not going to do it now, especially after the deal he did to get Desmond Bain.
In just a few words, for the sake of debate, I am in. You know why you shocked the league, Kyle Nash, and for a lot of reasons that you brought up, to get Giannis. Because Giannis knows how to win playoff games. Giannis is an NBA champion. And yes, we are pretty much 5 seasons removed from that NBA championship. It is not a bubble championship like what Yo King got the year before.
You do know I'm a Jordan GOAT guy, right?
Earned it outright, and Giannis did it on a shortened offseason, which is why he knows how to win playoff games in heightened circumstances. That's why you got to bring him into Orlando, because Orlando wants to make a push, and you want to do it with Franz. You can't do it with Paolo Banchero, like you just said, because of what he's done in Charlotte, okay? You can't trust him. And plus, they need to get a dose of the Clippers action where they traded away Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for picks and absolutely got nothing in return in comparison, because that's what the Clippers do. And it's time for the Magic to do the same. And that's what they're going to do when they trade away for Giannis, because you think he's past his prime and he's not going to be able to win playoff games. I disagree. I think that he will win playoff games, and he will help win Orlando win its first NBA championship with Franz. Franz and Giannis, the duo in Orlando, bringing a championship to Disney World. I feel it. You're not feeling it, but I am, and that's why I am in for the sake of debate.
So let me slightly adjust, my friend, something you said there. I didn't say Giannis couldn't win playoff games. I said he couldn't participate in them because he'll get hurt. I don't think he'll last health-wise through it, right? It's a similar argument you've heard me make against Yo King in LA. Let me be clear about that in the name of consistency before you accuse me again of somebody who's not a Jordan Goater. I know you don't. It's a joke. Relax. But what? I said, I know you don't. It's a joke. Relax. What? Jordan's the GOAT, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
A clip from the greatest Christmas movie of all time, Die Hard.
I don't remember you talking about a Christmas movie. Anyways, but listen, I get that averaging 26 points per 36 minutes for 2 consecutive years and nearly 27 points per 36 minutes for 2 consecutive seasons is something that you're proud of. Oh, wait, that's Giannis's numbers. That's adorable. You bring up winning playoff games, because while the Magic haven't won playoff games, the reason sure as hell isn't Giannis. You want to know who, incorrectly, I would also add in my opinion, but you want to know who catches the most hell for them getting bounced 2 years ago? It ain't one Paolo Banchero. It's your boy, Franz. Did I do that right? Franz Wagner.
You did.
Thank you, sir. Franz
Wagner. He has a
Wagner,
cooler name than Paolo.
Because Franz Wagner, for all intents and purposes on the stat sheet, disappeared against the Cavaliers in a 7-game series, particularly in Game 7, when you're supposed to be more clutch. And if I'm building my franchise around you, you can't disappear in Game 7. But you want to know who doesn't disappear in the damn playoffs? Paolo Banchero. Now, should that happen in this year's postseason, we are more than welcome to revisit any of this. But in the meantime, this is an ill-fated argument in my heart at this juncture.
I will concede on that note, Kyle Nash. But like Jesus gives us something to build on, as he says, Giannis knows how to win until he runs into the Heat.
Those are injury issues, though, right? He's missed at least, and I'm going off the top of the dome here. He's missed 3, 4, playoff games in 2 seasons against him. That was a factor against the Heat. That not the bubble championship, as you so affectionately refer to it, but the one they lost to the Nuggets. Right. With the run where they lost to the Bucks, they met with Giannis there too, and Giannis missed games. You know, let's put it this way. He would have had more champion. I'll make an argument that helps your side. The championships he did get, he performed, but he needed Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, right? Somebody who could shoot from distance, somebody who played good defense on the perimeter to counteract his strengths. In fairness, if he came to Orlando at this juncture, and assuming that these guys stayed healthy, which is something tall to do for Jalen Suggs would be another version of Drew Holiday, and Desmond Bane would be, or even, well, Franz has to fix his three-point shooting some, but one would argue Desmond Bane is more of that Chris Middleton role. And then all the Magic would have then is the same damn problem they do now. How do we deal with a guy who drives primarily to the basket with a big man who powers in the paint, and how do we have them coexist at the same time? That's the same issue they would have getting Giannis and Franz to coexist.
Yeah, but I think Franz would look at the fact that Giannis has won a championship, and he'd follow suit. Godless is somebody who's already got the championship.
These guys are pretty tight-knit, Drew Willingham. I don't think that's how that would go.
Well, you got to get along to go along and win championships, Kyle Nash.
There's something to that. There's something to that.
Yeah, so I feel like he needs to do that if he gets Giannis in the building. But more likely it will not even happen, as did to spark some elements in heated conversation with Kyle Nash for round 4. Speaking of keeping it heated, I'm going to get heated here with the final round. Looking forward to this one on the other side of this round.
Final round.
And here with the final round, the Washington Commanders are on, well, I wouldn't say on. The Washington Commanders are one of several teams that should replace their head coach this off-season. Kyle Nash, even though you don't cover this team all that often, you have seen parts of what I'm about to go off about. I know you can give a good debate on this. How do you feel? Are you in or are you out on this one?
While they're not my primary team, I feel like I could still fly high talking about the Red Tails. Sorry, Commanders. But I think that this point crashes and burns. I am out. Here's the thing, folks. This debate for me is very short. Last year, you played with house money there. Red Tail fans, sorry, Commander fans. Ain't nobody expect you making no conference championship. Certainly, the former purveyor of the Gridiron Red Tails, Commanders report, Drew Willingham. But the problem with success is expectations follow it, right? And I'm going to deal with the same thing on the Duval Dive next year when Liam Cohen begins campaign 2. I understand that. Expectations kill coaches and careers. Expectations are doing the same. You want to know what the biggest enemy of expectations are? Injuries. When you lose your quarterback, a guy who was a former Heisman Trophy winner, and for all intents and purposes, a guy that I don't think he got Rookie of the Year, but he had a case. Okay. And I feel compelled to remind the world that his injury and health situation was an issue. And by the way, if I remember correctly, your Commanders put up some pretty good fights with guys other than him at the helm. Did I not remember them reviving Marcus Mariota to roll his ass out there at quarterback? And we want to blame a coach for that nonsense? Get out my face. You want to know what else is scary? The guy that got hurt, Terry. Boom. I fit that in there. You like that? That's a problem for me when you're losing both your quarterback and your top receiver. Now, there may be some other nuance. There may be some other old issues that are still lingering. I don't know how old they are. It's not like Kingsbury's been there a long time, right? But, yeah, I'm not prepared. This isn't Eric Bieniemy blowing things up as an offensive coordinator. It's not like that. I just don't think it's time yet. I'm sorry. Y'all were playing with house money. Y'all came back to earth a little bit. I think next year should be what determines fate.
Well said, Kyle Nash. Definitely well said, and I can see why your argument is that. However, I disagree. And this is not even for the sake of debate. I am in. Biggest reason why I'm in is you brought up the whole point of the injuries. Very solid argument. However, the two biggest injuries, even though Jaden Daniels has been banged up throughout the majority of this year, the situations where he had gotten hurt, one with the hyperextended elbow that went backwards, which was really gruesome to watch. That situation came in when the team was down by 30 points in the second half, and there was no reason for Jaden Daniels to be in that game. Any coach would sense, especially coming off the type of year that you had, starting in the rough shape of which they had because there were injuries across the board, offense, defense, and also affecting special teams. All three phases of the game for this team were getting affected. So he gets a few weeks to rest, 2 weeks to rest, comes back in, it has I'm trying to think of the right thing, not a cast, but
Sling.
Elbow guard, whatever you want to call it, sleeve, whatever you want to call it, brace. There we go, elbow brace. Comes back with elbow brace, looking like a Stone Cold Steve Austin knee brace on his elbow. Yet, at a situation where the team is mathematically eliminated at this point, all right, they still throw Jaden Daniels out there with this elbow brace on, and he gets whacked again, which makes the injury even worse. So you put your quarterback, who did lead you to the NFC Championship game last year, in a year that not many people predicted. All you're doing now is proving more that it wasn't the coach and the scheme that really got the team there. It was the quarterback that carried the offense on its back and led them to that point where they were part of the final four teams left in the NFL season for 2024. Then you throw him out there. 3 weeks into the year, he's getting banged up and hurt in 2025. The elbow gets hyperextended backwards in a game where he's down by 30 points, had no business to be out there late in the second half, by the way. It was like 9 minutes left in the game. You're down by 30 points. Why is your future out there when you already have injuries to your wide receivers? Debo and Terry McLaurin were dealing with injuries that time. You had Austin Eckler, who went down with an ACL tear, who was done for the season. You got later on in the year, Zach Ertz gets hurt and is done. It's been injuries all across the board. So after Jaden has the elbow situation, and he'd already tweaked his knee earlier in the year, but he was good enough to come back, you would think by that point you'd shut him down. No, you bring him back out there in the elbow brace, and it gets even worse. Mariota gets hurt. Hartman gets hurt. Everybody's getting banged up who's at the position at quarterback for this team, to where Josh Johnson, the fourth stringer, is out there playing at this current moment on Christmas Day most recently. I say because you should have the wherewithal that your team is getting banged up because your offensive line has literally taken a 180 from what it was last year as far as its capabilities to protect everyone back there. It started with Eckler getting hurt. Your receivers are getting pounced on the outside. Then your quarterback goes down not once, not twice, but 3 times because of that. Because you're not taking care of them. It reminded me a whole lot of what went on with RG3 and the Shanahans, except for that happened in his rookie year. Luckily for Jaden Daniels, he got to complete that magical rookie year and get the team all the way to the NFC Championship, because I'm afraid unless they get new direction in their coaching, that's going to be as far as they go with this management team, with the pieces in play for offense, defense, and special teams. It sucks as a fan to say it, but we got to go with somebody new as a head coach in Washington.
First of all, I hope you still get my Christmas cards for Trent Williams in his time with the 49ers. Second, I know that was kind of a douchey thing to say. I apologize. But that being said, all the things you just said about needing new talent, needing to build the O-line is something you do in the offseason and in the draft and in free agency. is the reason why you keep this coach to develop all that. You ask the question, why is Jaden Daniels still playing as a second-year player late in games when everybody's hurt? Is to develop that chemistry with guys that are going to be in there and hopefully developing and be your future. Listen, Zach Ertz, last I saw him carbon dated, was 5,870 years old and still playing in the NFL. While I give that guy credit for lasting that long, something that's even more impressive than Phillip Rivers, I could argue, right? This is Yamir Yager-ish in hockey, for Christ's sake, what Zach Ertz is doing, playing tight end in the NFL still, right?
Yes.
And listen, that's not to make light of his injury, but it's also relatively unsurprising at his age. Nobody's knocking that. Do what you love, and if you get hurt doing it, it happens. But that element of development is important. And is it fair to expect an injury to happen 3 times? You can make the argument of coaching malpractice, but when what's remaining in the cupboard is Mariota and company, and they're getting hurt too, what exactly is the coach supposed to do at that point? That's where I get confused. If you're concerned about the O-line development, fine. Blame the Bengals for that, for making a damn Super Bowl doing it, right? There's a perfectly good line of thought that says it takes several picks, places, players to fix an O-line. To rejuvenate an offense, sometimes you just need one guy. But that's enough about Parker Washington, who you disagreed with me about when I talked about him a few episodes back on the In or Out Sports Debate. And that's what they were going for. They were trying to hit that home run. Was Austin Eckler going to be it? Apparently not when he got hurt. Scary Terry was it for a while, then he got hurt. Deebo Samuel, I completely forgot. Why? Because he's been injured so damn much. Okay, and by the way, I tried to warn you Commanders, about that occurrence, but nobody wanted to listen to the student of the game. That being said, at some point, the blame falls on the GM, not on the coach for this one. Now, granted, I'm not sure how much weight Kingsbury has in that conversation. I just know the GM is where your ire is really held. And sir, let me tell you, I still project the venom that you portray for the senior Shanahan and what he did to RG3 in that playoff game. What a terrible idea, especially when you had a backup that actually lasted taking care of a franchise. More than we could say for Marcus bleeping Mariota in the form of everybody's favorite all-shucks guy, Kirk Cousins.
Cupid.
So, yeah, I don't think I understand your pain. I don't feel it to your extent because I'm not a fan like you are, but it makes me angry. I still feel like you're projecting a bit on Kingsbury for this particular instance.
Well, I mean, there's people that said that at the time when his elbow was hyperextended, this season was a wash, even though it was very early in the season, because of the injuries that were happening all around. So at that point, if you're really going to truly have a developmental type of year, those reps and everything that you're talking about, they can get in practice. And he can still move and still work, but you keep him off the field because you already know it's an expletive show out there. You go for that number, that top 3, top 4 pick naturally that way by having Mariota and others in there. You let JD fully heal, and you can still work with him on the practice side of things, because even though you're throwing him a lot of money, it's not like Deshaun Watson getting thrown millions of dollars to do absolutely nothing, okay? And you're going to have a situation like that where you get him banged up to the point where he is going to have to miss 12 to 14 months. And then you're really going to have a bad situation for your future when it comes to chemistry and building something with your future teams. So he'll probably be there next year, Dan Quinn. But I had to make an argument against it for one, because I knew you were going to come in here and say no because of all the reasons that you just gave. And even though part of me does feel like it does for Shanahan, I just want JD to have a successful long career because he deserves it.
Don't we both? Hey, listen, I saw a lot of good things from him here in Orlando when he beat FSU. Or excuse me, he didn't beat FSU. Sorry, FSU won that game. But I saw him play and do amazing things in that loss to FSU, I should say. I get it. I'm not mad at your take per se, but I mean, listen, we're both in tech, and I find it frustrating that people think they can do what we do, or at least me writing code with AI. But much like AI, you're going to talk about practice, not a game. We talk about practice. You're trying to develop people in practice, not a game. We talking about practice. No, Drew Willingham, you don't. The upside of your season being a complete S show is you get more development time because you can't really spend time in the NFL developing. Why? Because you're building a game plan. You have more flexibility with that in a washed season than you would in one when you're in competition.
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.
Surprise, motherfucker.
I'm surprised, Kyle Nash. I am surprised. But you bring up a really great point, so that's why it's not as surprising as it could have been.
You can't handle the truth.
I can't, because I wanted to have a good season this year and not what I witnessed.
Yeah, well, none of us wanted to see the Cowboys pretend they were in competition, but that's a whole other thing.
Pretend they were competition. And you absolutely had it spot on, because that's literally what it is every single time you see America's team trot out there on national TV. But speaking about things to trot out there, it's time for us to take it on into the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
And for this episode's Vault of Fame, it's time that we acknowledge Kyle Nash is now a 19-time Vault of Fame inductee for episode 132, moving him from second place to now tying for the number one spot. Cue Ludacris's song from 20 plus years ago, the number one spot, because Kyle Nash, through 132 episodes, has made it all the way to the top, tying good old JR Joey Raymond for the number one spot here in the Vault of Fame. Speaking of which, we got to look back at all those names that came before us in these episodes from 1 to 132.
Acknowledge me.
I want to take this time to kind of shout you out, Drew. You have taken a concept and made it into a whirlwind of fun for a lot of people. I know for myself. Dude, I am proud of you, man. I want you to continue to do what you're doing. But the concept that you came up with, how much you put into it, how much you've changed it, how much you add to it, the work shows, man. So kudos to yourself. Round of applause for you, man. And just wanted to say thank you for having me on again. It was a lot of fun. Look forward to the next one.
Shout out to Drew for letting me come on the show. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, didn't know what to expect coming into this, and I am super happy that I agreed to come on to this because it was a blast, well-produced show. Honestly, extremely impressed by all the effort you put into this show, Drew. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to coming back on in the future.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Outs Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
That right there was the In or Out Sports Debate Vault of Fame. Again, Kyle Nash tying the number one spot here with 19 times in the Vault of Fame. Locked and loaded. Kyle Nash is for 132.
Hey, listen. First of all, I want to give props to Boy Wonder Joey Raymond. I remember doing I think he might have been the first three-way show I did here on the In or Out Sports Debate, and much credit to the Boy Wonder. But now, you know why you got beat? Because I'm Brad. Okay. and I'm looking forward to number 20. The first one to reach El 20. Matter of fact, I was going to try to come up with somebody to call out here. You know what? I'll do it. Black Jesus or D.O., what it do? I'll bring one of y'all to 10 for me to get to 20. How about that? Let's do it.
For you to reach the double digits for the second consecutive set, it's now time to bring somebody into the double digits for the first time. There it is. Kyle Nash sharing the wealth here for episode 132 and beyond. And Kyle Nash says vengeance.
Oh,
Corey Mann says vengeance.
Because I'm about to say, Black Jesus is supposed to be dealing in vengeance. Okay, we're rewriting the scriptures. Now I'm worried.
He says, I got a ways to go catch up. Great show. We appreciate it there. We have had a great time here for 132. Kyle Nash's number one spot tie-in for this episode. We do have one more segment to take it on into. And that is the final word of the program. Kyle Nash now with the final word. Give us your final words here for this episode.
You know, normally I have a topic off the top of my head that's just rubbing my belly precisely the wrong way so I can scream about it as much as I need to. But because this format, this show, the In or Out Sports Debate is what it is, I've gotten to cover all of the above and done so to my burning heart's content. And here's the thing, something else I know, it surprises me too, Drew Willingham, and that freedom I'm offered on In or Out Sports Debate is something I get only here now that things have shaped the way they have on my schedule. As much as schedule issues have challenged Sartoba Media, I too personally have had those things come up. But nonetheless, when I jump on here, I'm able to talk and bring whatever to the forefront, in addition to absolutely thrashing Drew Willingham in matters of the ACC. But that all being said, as nice as it is for me to get to the top of the Vault of Fame, I am more grateful for In or Out Sports Debate, for you, Drew Willingham, to get 132 of these bad boys in, and I will do whatever I can to see that you reach 150 and beyond, and that you and Black Jesus and anybody that does business with and around Sartoba Media get their props, because again, this is just a fun time for all involved, and that's the way it should be. And congratulations to all that you've accomplished and the fact that you've stuck with it this long through your adversity to get to 132, Drew Willingham.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, because there has, just like this background, been a lot of obstacles in the way that have helped and hindered the growth in certain areas. So I greatly appreciate that, my man, and all the kind words, because without your presence throughout these 19 times you've been here, we would not be at 132 episodes, in my opinion. So I greatly appreciate your impact as much as mine on you from here to then. But now it is my time for the final word. Is yes, I am rocking a John Cena t-shirt, because the last time is now. You can't see me in the year 2025 after this episode, because we've only got like a couple of days left of the year, and I'm not going to be producing any more content for the year. So when it comes to that, like I said earlier tonight, we do have the show returning next year, but at some point in January. Not sure when in 2026, but it will be in January. We do have the next month to figure that out. Different date, different time, not sure when, but we will put some type of post on YouTube and other surrounding social media platforms in order to make that happen. Just like Kyle said, we covered a lot of sports tonight, and I basically have covered everything that I wanted to discuss to round the year out. Did not expect that we would be talking about Phillip Rivers playing an NFL game when we were doing this show a month ago. And over the past couple weeks before now, we've talked about him potentially making it to the playoffs and getting to a Super Bowl. Well, that didn't happen. But just to have stories like that to talk about, John Cena and others in other episodes have made this pretty fun over the course of the last few months, after taking a little bit of a hiatus due to a pretty rough end of the summer and beginning of the fall. But with all that being said, 132 episodes are in the books between Kyle and Rob and many other contributions from those of you out there who've been part of the panelist team. Thank you very much for coming through. Corey Mann, Black Jesus, and his contributions to Sartoba this year in 2025. A whole lot of things I could list off here. Without the contributions of those of you, we wouldn't have the type of impact that we do out here, which some people post videos and get 0 views. We have, a low amount of views right now because the consistency hasn't been there. But I'm hoping at 2026, once I get back up and rolling after making a few moves out here in these streets over the next few weeks, once I get back up and going, that there is no more stopping. But got to do the right thing and get ready for these big moves and take a break from this for the upcoming future. So shout out to Kyle Nash for being here and coming through for episode 132. We've only got one more thing left to do, and that is look at one, I guess, semi-badass outro from my man Kyle Nash. I am Drew Willingham one last time in 2025 up at the screen with Kyle Nash. I had myself up there. Let me get Kyle Nash back up here without the chaos in the background with Christmas lights and not the chaos. One last time in 2025, we are going to tell you to please stay safe out here in these streets.
Sartoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.